Good Tuesday afternoon, YouTube. How you guys doing today? Hey, Derek, why? How you doing? Thank you guys so much for joining me this evening. Y'all know I have these live streams have gotten on my nerves because they don't want to upload my videos. It's taking them anywhere between 12 and 24 hours to upload a live stream, but I had to come on and talk about this. Hey, allegedly, hey, I'm an eyes, because I don't care how long it takes. Hey, common sense, I am shocked. Okay, I don't know. Let me say, I'm not really shocked, nor am I really even surprised. Okay, hey, it's okay. Love this meditation. Hey, third degree brother. So let me tell you what's going on. So I'm strolling down the YouTube streets this morning, right? And I'm strolling down the conscious community streets this morning, and I run across a Dagger squad. You know, he's a content creator over in the conscious community side. You know, with Sinetta, City, a shocked water sniper, me either, of young Pharaoh and all of them, right? So he does a video that's asking the question: has young Pharaoh pretty much joined Trump? And so I start listening to the video, and they get to the part to where he's playing a video from a guy named Haven Bullets, right? And in this video, he's singing the praises of Trump, and I'm like, well, hold up now. And I kind of thought that he was kind of turning sideways. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I had heard about some of how he was twerking, backpedaling and eggplant emoji popping over there on Twitter, right? And so I'm like, nah, right? So I start listening to the video, and I was like, oh no, he didn't. He is now over there singing. Not only is he singing the praises of Trump, okay, he is also. And I'm gonna let y'all hear a little bit of this, okay? He is also singing the praises of white militiamen, okay? Those crazy white boys that run around the woods with guns and stuff like that. So he's praising them, and at the same time, he's praising them. And he's not the only one on here today. I've heard praising these white militiamen. I heard another content creator, very popular. I'm not, just let me say, I'm gonna have to say his name because y'all know I'm holding it back. I'm not trying to get no beef started. I'm not being messy. I am just, saddened because at the state of our black men in these United States of America, that's why I had to ask the question, is black male leadership dead? And it's from what I'm hearing, online anyway, the answer to that is yes. Do you see what I'm saying? Online anyway, not necessarily offline. So at the time he's prayed, he's not, like I said, Super Sly 75 was over there praising these Anglo militiamen as well. Hey, Kingsman, he was praising them, big up in them. We have black militiamen in this country as well. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm like, well, what is the world is going on? So you telling me that now? See, let me tell you what's going on. The winds of war is in the air. Okay. Now I truly believe that this coronavirus, this global pandemic, it's really like a dress rehearsal for things to come. Do you see what I'm saying? Because we know that we are entering in an age of a new world order. Okay, so what next to come is some kind of global world war. They're going to have to put forth incite a global world war because China wants to dominate, and a lot of other countries like Germany, Italy, France, Sweden, a whole lot of other people, Russia, really Russia. They're trying to see, Russia is sneaky. They want to act like they're working with China, but really they're working for their own interest. Do you see what I'm saying? And so because of all that, I really think this corona pandemic is a dress rehearsal. It's also a power play coming from the Chinese. A lot of people know this. Even the continent of Africa knows this. Do you see what I'm saying? And so when I ask the question, have our black males been emasculated? I will have to say not individually, like not one-on-one. You know what I mean? But collectively, yes, because you got young brothers anywhere from the age of 26, and I'm talking about young Pharaoh, up until their 40s or 50, like Super Sly 75, praising the white man's militia. Okay, what about your own black militia? If you smell the winds of war, if you smell war on the horizon, why are you not trying to call your people to click up with your own people? Why are you praising another man's army? How, like, what in what history of the world has any group of people been able to not be conquered? Because you're going to be conquered. In other words, if you're not standing for your own people. Do you see what I'm saying? You cannot be an unconquered people. Do you see what I'm saying? And stand with other people. Do you see other races of people? Because this is the survival of the fittest. We're entering an age into where if you don't stand with your own, you're gonna perish. Even our leaders, like African leaders like Julius Malema, and I'm going to play his audio a little while after I play Pharaoh's leader. Even the Pan African EFF leader in South Africa is calling for the global unifying of black peoples throughout the diaspora. Do you see what I'm saying? Because they also smell the winds of war, but Africans for Africa, a lot of them are waking up, not the elected official, but the people with boots on the ground. They are waking up and they are calling for the unifying of Africans throughout the diaspora. Do you see what I'm saying? That is what's going on. Everybody is choosing up. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, but evidently except a lot of our black people, they are choosing to side with the Anglo. They are choosing to side with Trump. Now, I've asked this question, I'm asked before, why is it that so many black men, not all, but why is it that so many black men, really look up to Trump? They praise him. They look up to his masculinity. You know what I mean? Everything that he says, they're standing behind, even down to this young Pharaoh now, praising Trump, praising the white militiamen. It's incredible. Let me play this audio for you guys. I'm gonna talk forever, but honey, you just have to listen and hear it for yourself, okay? Because I'm like, no, he didn't. But see, he's 26 years old. He young. He dumb. We know that a lot of this is this to further his channel. The reason why he's got 200K, and more subscribers, pretty much is because he has a large Anglo base. Do you see what I'm saying? And the little boy been twisted up in the head for a long time. Now he will have some shining moments, but you can't really listen to a child because a child's mind is not developed enough to think as a grown person. And we know that for a lot of young people, they seem to be developmentally disabled, in this day and age. Okay. Now, a long time ago, young Pharaoh, also, I had to side-eye a little fella way back when he was coming for Malcolm X. He spoke very derogatorily about Malcolm X a few years ago, as well as the Nation of Islam. He lost a whole lot of support because he really didn't know anything. Now, he's not the only person I've heard do this before, right? But he was, speaking out against Malcolm X. He had to turn that whole thing around. He went quiet for a while, and when he came back, he started big up in Malcolm X, and then he started speaking against Louis Farrakhan. But he really has a thorn in his foot when it comes to the Nation of Islam. Do you see what I'm saying? And so whatever he can do to come at the Nation of Islam, do you see what I'm saying? And so how so pro-white of him. Do you see what I'm saying? He does well. He has a reprobate mind, OG Boosie. At times he'll speak the truth, but if you really listen, if you're really educated as to what he is saying, he need to stick to the metaphysical stuff. Okay, he need to stick to DNA. He need to stick to the stars. He need to stick to Kamei. He need to stay in his lane, basically, because when it comes to politics, I don't know if they've turned him into an agent on Twitter, or if she's just silly, because like I said, you got a whole lot of black men that love Trump for his supposed bravado, which ain't nothing but fake. Do you see what I'm saying? And the reason why Trump is appealing to so many black men is because he sounds just as stupid as a lot of them do. Okay, just as stupid as this young man on here, pretty much backpedaling and eggplant popping for Trump. Okay, and not only Trump, the white militiamen. Okay, I ain't never heard nothing like this in my life. And I asked this question a couple of times. I'm gonna ask it again. How can you be pro-black or even Pan-Africans? How can you be for your people and be for Trump at the same time? Don't the two cancel out each other? See, I've asked that before, and I'm gonna have to ask it again. But anyway, let me play this little audio for you guys. This is shout out to Dagger Squad. This is Dagger Squad pretty much exposing young Pharaoh. Before you hear young Pharaoh on the screen. You're gonna hear a little something else from an Anglo. Okay, so I'm gonna stop talking and I'm going to share this audio with you guys, and we'll come back to discuss. And after that, I'm going to show you. I'm going to let you hear it. In other words, what it sounds like, because there are some black men throughout the diaspora that are for black people, and Julius Malema, the leader of the EFF, is one of them. Okay. And so we're going to hear him after we hear this nonsense right here. But this right here, this young man right here, somebody need to take him in the house, okay, put him in a tub of cold water, okay, snatch him out of that tub and whoop his behind with several thick switches, because he done lost his mind. He's straight up showing out. Okay, anyway, let me cue the tape and we're going to get started, because and make it so bad. It's a whole lot of people over there co-signing them too. Do you see what I'm saying? You was on that live stream, Vonda. They're over there co-signing Trump 2020, Trump this, Trump that. And what do you know about the black militia? What do you know about any militia men, especially in the South? You're praising these militia men that, like you say, shoot guns at trees and stuff in the South. You ain't even never been down South. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, and just let me say this, and I'm going to say this again, but and then this go for Young Pharaoh and Super Sly, while you praising these militia men in the South and throughout the country, okay? Because they all over the place. We know they're in the police force, the police department, the fire department, in the hospital. They're everywhere. They've infiltrated everywhere. These racists have. When they get through with you, they'll let you fight with them. But when it's all said and done, when they get through fighting, when the battle is over, they're going to kill your black ass too. Okay? So you just go on, keep on backpedaling and pussy popping for them if you want to. Bring your ass down here with all that talk and see what happened to you. Okay? But anyway, let me cue this tape and we're going to get started. The hell?
He wanted was that all of the blacks be put on boats and shipped back to Africa.
By the next afternoon, Matthews is refusing to talk anymore. 5 SWAT team officers storm into the house, only to find him barricaded on the 2nd floor. When Matthews opens fire with an assault rifle, Dennis and Edwards are right outside.
I saw bullets splattering through the wall directly over my head.
The roar of the weapon that Matthews was using was unbelievable.
Well, I've been involved in gun battles during my tenure in the FBI, but never anything like this.
After 10 minutes, the SWAT team is ordered back. A second gun battle erupts that night when a helicopter is called in.
Let me pause right there. This right here, what you're hearing right now, is a interview, and they're talking about going into combat with these militiamen. Okay, and so that's why he's playing this. But in a few minutes, you'll hear, he's gonna start talking about Pharaoh. So just let me go. Let me continue.
And then there was silence.
A decision is made. Flares will be used to light up the ground floor. A fire begins, then spreads.
The whole time the house was burning, he was still firing.
Is it loud enough? Do I need to hit the one if I need to turn it up, y'all?
The leader of the order never emerges from the safe house.
I will never submit, nor surrender to violence, but
Bob Matthews' war with the government has finally come to an end.
In the end, we're going to win.
Only a quarter of the $4 million stolen dollars was ever recovered. The rest was reportedly distributed among the radical right.
you have it in you to be strong, to be brave, to stand up for your folks and your people and to act like a white person. Do you?
The same faces and voices of hate that once inspired Bob Matthews are still out there, inspiring a growing extremist fringe.
They did destroy the order, but they didn't destroy the movement. It still exists.
The proof for Denver Parmenter came just 5 months ago.
The Oklahoma bombing didn't surprise me.
You know, people seem so shocked that it was domestic terrorism.
I don't know why. That's what we did.
Timothy McVeigh, accused of the Oklahoma City bombing, is reported to have studied the order and, like Bob Matthews, passed out copies of the Turner Diaries, the extremist handbook for the violent overthrow of the federal government.
The day it happened, first thing I thought it was that damn book, the Turner Diaries.
That book has got a part in there about where they take a Ryder truck and put it in the bottom of the federal building.
And basically the idea is we need a white America. Let's get rid of all the blacks. Let's get rid of all the Jews, and we will find ourselves once again. That's basically it.
That's one way, a very crude way of expressing it. I think a more fundamental idea that I expressed in the Turner Diaries is that we need to be responsible for the world around us. We need to stop being just spectators and become participants in the historical process. And if we don't like what we see in the world around us,
Get rid of it.
well, do something about it.
Well, sure, blow up the FBI headquarters.
Well, that was one of the chapters in the Turner Diaries. There was a civil war going on.
It was indeed. Not unlike the Oklahoma City bombing of a year ago.
We need a two-way.
Pierce, way back in 1978, told of a fertilizer truck bomb driven by white militiamen into the underground parking garage at FBI headquarters in Washington. The result, in the book, was much the same as in Oklahoma City. Perhaps the most bizarre chapter in the book tells of the Day of the Rope. That's the day when white traitors are strung up by the revolutionary militias.
The people who were executed on the Day of the Rope were all white people. They were people who had betrayed their race.
Hung from trees, hung from lampposts, hung from stop signs, there was a whole carnival.
That's right. It was a day of mass hanging.
You thought that up?
Yes, I thought up everything that was in the book.
And you seem to enjoy describing it.
Well, it was writing adventure stories is a congenial occupation for me.
Is William Pierce crazy?
I wouldn't think William Pierce is crazy at all. Maybe crazy like a fox, because he is probably indirectly responsible through his book for the worst American domestic terrorism tragedy in our history. If Timothy McVeigh is guilty, the method he chose to blow the building up is a carbon copy, almost down to the amount of ammonium nitrate used in the truck bomb that was used in the example of the bombing in the Turner Diaries.
Yeah, so the reason why I played that.
Hold on a minute. Also, I want to tell you about the Turner Diaries. If you've never read this book called The Turner Diaries, I had to read it in school and do a report on it. It's a fictionalized account of the uprising of homegrown terrorism. And when you heard that part, homegrown American terrorism, okay? When you heard him talking about, he was giving a fictional account of something in the book. And in the book, there were several white people in the book trying to save black people and other races of people because of this invisible race war. And if you were white in the book, if you were white and you were trying to help out other races of people, you were considered a traitor. Do you see what I'm saying? And so they hung you by trees, like they actually hung our people by trees. They were hung them by trees and on lamp posts. They killed them. They shot them dead. You read it, Joe W. Do you know what I'm talking about, right? They shot them dead because they were considered traitors because they were helping other races of people. And it was also really like a manifesto, like Mein Kampf. Do you see them like Hitler's Mein Kampf? It's sort of that kind of American homegrown terror manifesto sort of thing, right? And he was saying that I'm sure a lot of you heard of the Oklahoma City bombings and what Timothy McVeigh did. He is one of America's most prolific homegrown terrorists. Okay, and when they talk about homegrown terrorists, they also now want to put in a class with homegrown terrorists black groups like the New Black Panther Party, the Black Lives Matters, in any black group, several black militia groups, any black group that is willing to stand up for his people, you are called a black identity extremist. Even though you are not committing terroristic acts, they still want to shout you down and put a spotlight on your group and call you a homegrown terrorist, like these militiamen, like the KKK, like the skinheads, like the Aryan Nation. Those are the homegrown, and these little militia groups. Do you see what I'm saying? Those are true homegrown terrorists. But when you get something like a Black Panther Party, getting together, it is simply to protect your people, for the protection of your people, as well as a lot of militia groups that a lot of Black people don't know about for a reason. Do you see what I'm saying? Because they don't want to be snuffed out and they don't want to be killed like so many of our, pretty much all of our Black leaders of the past, everywhere from our way back to somebody like who was in the past? I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Do you see what I'm saying? Because we know that they will be killed if they are trying to stand up, for the Black. That's right, Joe W. The Nation of Islam is considered a hate group. Do you see what I'm saying? And that goes back to young Pharaoh. He cannot stand the Nation of Islam, which is why Dagger Squad and a whole lot of people are starting to side eye him, and they're calling him a double agent, and a lot of the twerking that he's been doing on social media and all this and all that. And when this video, the thumbnail for this video is going to be a tweet from young Pharaoh in which he is joining hands with a militia group. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm gonna use it for the thumbnail. I don't want to put it in the video, but it is going to be the thumbnail. So y'all check it out after the video uploads. Anyway, let me finish this because he's going to start talking about young Pharaoh and what's going on with him right now. And some of you guys have said that you heard him. Somebody said that they heard young Pharaoh and they wondered what's going on with him. Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
Because I want to give you an idea of who these people are, who this brother might be trying to align with. And it's crazy. The militias are
he's talking about young
Pharaoh
Pharaoh
right now. Are ready for war. But let's take a look at this though. Let's take a look. What are you talking about, Garfield? Why would he even throw this on young Pharaoh? So the brother Haven Bullets played a video, and it got me thinking for a minute. And by the way, I'm going to be live back at 12 p.m. I'm getting off the air in 15 minutes. I'm going to be live at 12, where you could ask Garfield anything. It's going to be what I call it. I call it the I want all the smoke segment. So we could talk about anything, solutions, whatever. All right, and nobody's jealous of young Pharaoh, by the way. I really think the guy is a great marketer. He's just a great marketer, and that's what we lack in the conscious community: marketing.
Peace. My name is Haven Bullets, and I'm gonna let this hang for about 15 seconds so y'all can absorb this. Because this is not satire. This is not fake. This is from young Pharaoh. This is from him. This is from his account. I saw this on Instagram, but his Instagram got deleted, so I found it again on his Twitter, and I wanted to see how many people covered this or even talked about this. And I felt enough time has passed where I can cover this now. So let me make this bigger for you. It says, "Drain the swamp. I got your back, brother." And as you can see, it has young Pharaoh. Because remember, I'm the reason this picture is even out. Because when young Pharaoh was talking about joining forces with the white militias and all this other stuff and running around the woods with some red, black, and green on, most people didn't catch that. Because you know most young Pharaoh supporters don't actually watch his whole 2-3 hour live streams. They don't be watching all that. And the ones who do watch it don't care, because young Pharaoh could say anything. He could come out tomorrow and say Jesus Christ is real and I'm his son, and people will look, and his hardcore fans will accept that. They'll accept anything from young Pharaoh. Well, I'm the one who took that clip and put it out there, so a lot of people seen it who wouldn't have seen it otherwise. So people started coming after him because he said that. And guess what he did? He doubled down on it and put out this picture. Drain the swamp. I got your back, brother. And this is supposed to be young Pharaoh with his red, black, and green on, with his Malcolm X shirt on, because you know he's supposed to be the avenger of Malcolm X. Even though he dissed Malcolm X and he had to disappear for a little while because he did that when I exposed that. Then now he gets to come back and pretend that he cares about Malcolm X again.
Exactly.
And look, he has his red, black, and green on. and he's bumping fists with a white militiaman. And guess what? He's not even pretending that this white militiaman that he's bumping fists with is not one of these racist white patriot group members. Because look what he has on. The American flag and the Confederate flag. Got a bunch of, he got a tattoo that's supposed to be a Marine Corps tattoo and a bunch of white supremacist tattoos that you can barely make out, but you know they're supposed to be representing some type of white supremacy on those tattoos. Just like Pharaoh's tattoos are supposed to be representing some type of black power. And he's bumping fists with him and calling him brother. I got your back, brother. And they got guns. And who are they supposed to be fighting for? Donald Trump. That's why they say drain the swamp. And who they supposed to be fighting against? The quote-unquote Illuminati. And who's going against Trump? Because anybody who goes against Trump is magically the Illuminati now. Or working for the Illuminati. Whether they know it or not. And I'm just here to just show this picture because I'm probably going to make another video about this. But I just want y'all to see this. And look what he says. If you at home scared, just remember this picture. That's what he says. If you at home scared, just remember this picture. So he's telling black people, look at this picture. Just remember this picture that the white man got your back and we got his back because that's our brother now. I guess the white man ain't a rhesus monkey. He ain't a caveman no more. He not a devil. He not none of that no more. He not inferior to black people no more. All that shit y'all was kicking about white supremacy and we gonna rise up and all that. Now it's, I got your back, brother.
Facts.
Fist bumping. Huh. And you got a bunch of young Pharaoh fans who didn't even know about this because they didn't watch the whole live stream, but they now supporting it because, you know, they dick riders. You got the hardcore dick riders who watch everything Pharaoh say, and no matter what he say, they gonna rock with it. And then you got the other dick riders who just don't watch everything Pharaoh say. But when it gets brought to their attention, they're gonna ride with it because, hey, it's Pharaoh.
Yep.
And they're gonna ride with everything he say.
Yep.
So I just wanted to put this out there, and I want to know when people gonna call him out about this. Zeddy, when you gonna call him out about this? Because I'm gonna make videos individually to everybody addressing them so they can't say they didn't see it or they don't know about this. But when y'all gonna say something about this and honestly say something about this, not try to clout chase and try to get a few clicks and then turn around and say, you know what, Pharaoh, you right. Because you know that's how these dudes do. When they get emotional, the white man go from being the devil to the black man being the devil.
Huh.
And they ain't got no problem with white people, even though their whole platform is based off the white man is the devil, he oppressing us, white supremacy. We gotta rise up. The Confederate flag and all this other goofy shit. Look at this. I just want you to see this. Because the picture's kind of cut off, but you can see they got guns in their hand. So they supposed to be going to war for Donald Trump to drain the swamp.
It gets better.
But my hard work and the shit I stay up till 6 in the morning doing, that's going to my website. All I ask is that y'all support my grind. If you support my grind, it financially enables me to do what the fuck I gotta do, which is inform the people and attempt. Because I'm not gonna just say I'm a beast. I don't know, but I can attempt to aid my people in America and around the world, and hopefully inspire others to do the same. If not individually, they can reach out to me and we can figure something out. But that's it. I don't do handouts. I don't need no $1 million for no school. All I'm saying is support me for what I do if you fuck with me. If not, I don't give a fuck. Go live your life. Kiss my ass. And so that being said, man, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Cut it out. Y'all niggas cut it out, man. These niggas weak. Niggas ain't gonna bust a grape. When it's time to get on the field, niggas is not gonna get on the field. Niggas don't even know which side of the field they on, let alone talking about they gonna play the field. Let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be all the way real. Y'all niggas, I'm gonna end on this. Let's be all the way real, dog. Stop playing. Stop playing. If they would have said we mandating vaccines and niggas cannot come back and engage in worldly activities until you get a vaccine, who gonna bust a shot? You're not gonna bust a shot, Umar. Stop lying. You're not gonna lick a shot, nigga. You're not gonna lick a shot. Nigga, you probably never even held a pistol. Huh? You probably never even held a pistol. What's a tray pound? You know what a tray pound is? You know what a tray pound is? You know what a 4-4 is? You know what a 4-5 is, nigga? You probably don't even know what them is. Them slang words. I'm giving it to you the way street niggas talk. I'm giving it to you the way the street talk. You know what a tray pound is, nigga? You know what a deuce is? No, you don't. You ain't gonna kill nothing. Sit your fat ass down. For life. You gonna knock something off for your people? No. You don't even love your people enough to knock something off because you're scamming us. So it's no way you gonna ride for us. There's no way we could believe you gonna lead us because you preying on us. Huh? Y'all, the leadership in the black community is just as corrupt, if not as worse, as the leadership was in white America.
Was.
That's facts.
Y'all catch that was?
Was? What is he saying? Was?
Before Trump. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Black community is just as corrupt, if not as worse, as the leadership was in white America. That's facts. The leadership in the black community is so corrupt and so horrible that, nigga, we was gonna have to click up with white people. And I'm not saying that I got a problem with white America. I'm just telling you the truth. Y'all niggas been sucking Farrakhan dick for almost 100 years. In 2033, the NOI will be 100 years old. Y'all niggas couldn't just call on Farrakhan. Farrakhan wasn't gonna have niggas outside your house protecting you and your family. So stop, go cut it out. What is y'all niggas doing on the internet playing with these pussy ass niggas? It was just crunch time. Them niggas wasn't gonna play the field. You're not. Umar, you not gonna catch nobody. But like, you're not gonna catch a body. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. And let me say disclaimer. Let me say this for disclaimer purposes. I'm not saying I'm gonna catch a body. I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I'm gonna tell you what. I love my family and I love my people and I love America to the point where I'm not no killer, but don't push me. That's my disclaimer. That's my disclaimer. And after I gave my disclaimer, let me continue with my rant. Polite, you're not gonna catch nobody. Sit down. Omar Johnson, you're not gonna catch a body. Farrakhan, you ain't gonna catch a body. Y'all Fruit of Islam niggas ain't gonna catch nobody. Sit your pussy ass down. All y'all niggas pussy. What's the nigga name? I keep Infinite Waters. You dead. Hold on, wait a minute. Cause y'all got me fucked up today. Wait a minute. This the nigga y'all? Wait a minute. See, now I gotta get for real, dog. Y'all niggas not gon' nigga, listen. Let me show you something. Cause I don't want nobody to think I'm talking threatening. Okay? I'm not threatening nobody. Please don't take what I'm saying in a threatening manner. Watch this. American patriots. Let me show you something. Let me show you who gonna catch a body. I'm gonna show you who gonna catch a body. Oh, these niggas gonna catch it. These white boys gonna catch a body. And that's who the fuck I'm fucking with. If it pop off, I'm gonna show you who I'm fucking with. I'm gonna show you exactly who I'm fucking with. Now look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you niggas something. Let me show you niggas something. See? Here we go. YouTube. Let's go to YouTube. Let's go to no. We can stay here. I think the nigga might come up. Let me show you who we got. Let me show you who we got, y'all. This is who we got. And I don't mean no disrespect to nobody. But the truth got to be told. It got to be told, dog. It got to be told, dog. It got to be told. I don't give a fuck who don't like it. Now look at this. Do you see these white boys? You see them? This ain't the army. Wow. Y'all think this the army? This ain't the army.
Look at who he's showing, family. These are militias. I wish I could have zoomed in and see who he Googled, because that would have exposed it even more. Look at this. This is who he Googled. Training with America's Patriot militias. Right here it goes. Dude is exposed. He's aligning with militias. Calling, disrespecting Farrakhan. 85-year-old man. Are you serious? Come on. He ain't gonna bust a grape, and he would never bust a grape. This boy is an agent, if you ever seen one in our community. I'm going live at 12, man. I want all the smoke. I want all the smoke. This is crazy.
And he went live at 12 too. Let me just say that what he Googled up, I couldn't show y'all the video, but let me tell you who he Googled. What it is saying. No, it don't make sense. Like he's ranting and raving like a fool. Okay, and somebody said earlier what has said he said about this. I haven't heard anything that said he said about this. Do you see what I'm saying? But he coming for people like Umar and Polite, because you know anybody can come at Umar right now because he done lost his mind. Do you see what I'm saying? And but he is a charlatan, just like many of the rest of them. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm talking about Brother Polite and Umar to be exact. The difference is that he is pom cheering and, like I said, backpedaling and coochie popping for Donald Trump and white militiamen. And the white militia picture that he pulled up. Do you got any of you guys remember the Bundys? The Bundys are militiamen out in Oregon or somewhere, and they took over a federal building, right? They took over a federal building because now this is who he want to side with, because he think these white militiamen is going protect him some kind of way. So he's wanting to join up, put his red, black, and green on, and bump guns and bump coochies or whatever, or bump peens or whatever with the white militiamen. So the Bundys, they were out in Oregon. They're a militia, anti-government, right? Anti-government also means anti-black. Okay, anything that is not white, these militiamen are against. Okay, number one. Now I don't know what's wrong with young Pharaoh. I don't know if he's young and dumb and he ain't Googled that part yet. I don't know. He ain't never heard of the Promise Keepers. They even to this day are shooting up a lot of people. They say they put on those black people's mask and put rims and stuff on these ghetto looking cars and go shoot up whole communities in Chicago. Okay, those are the Promise Keepers. They're like the Klan. Do you see what I'm saying? They are the ones that's keeping up a whole lot of gang violence in Chicago. Do you see what I'm saying? The FBI did a report about that. The Promise Keepers in Chicago. Okay, they shot up a 4th of July party last year in which they killed a little boy and a whole lot of people. So young Pharaoh ain't Google that yet. But anyway, when he's pulling up the Bundy and the other militiamen, they took over a empty small federal building in the middle of Oregon. Okay, the FBI came out there. They took over the building, like I said, in an effort to protest, not anti-government. They were protesting. They did that in order to stand against the government, because Bundy, the old man Bundy, he's got a son Bundy, but the son Bundy was shot, and the old man, he was protesting. Really, the only reason why he was protesting, not anti-government, he was protesting the fact that the federal government would no longer allow him to let his cattle graze on federal land. So he was mad about that, because the government stopped him from grazing on that land, and he wanted to get his militia boys together, and they want to take over a empty, vacant federal building. Now, this is the person that he's praising. This is how you know he's young and dumb, and he don't know what in the world he is talking about. But these are the people that he's praising. He's so fascinated by these Anglo militiamen. And like I said, I ain't trying to throw no shade or nothing, but I heard Super Sly 75 praising these same militiamen on his video today. I'm thinking these black men, some of these black men on YouTube, as well throughout the country, have been completely emasculated. They smell the winds of war. Now they want to run behind the white man's skirt. They want the white man to protect you. But I tell you what, you go on and join up with them militia men. You go on and do that, because when they through using you, whatever it is that they got to use you for, make no mistake, they will use you as long as you benefit them. But at the end of the day, when they've conquered whatever it is that they want to conquer, they're going to kill your black ass too. Okay, they're going to string you up, or they're going to shoot you down like a dog too, like they're already doing on the streets. We are also in the midst of a coronavirus having a rise yet again in the police shootings of black men. Okay. But he want to join these militia groups. They want to praise these militia groups. Now, I can't even say it's just a young Pharaoh praising him because he's young and dumb and he really don't know nothing at all. He ain't even been alive long enough. He ain't real well read enough. He just stick to his basic hustling. Do you see what I'm saying? And shucking and jiving for the man and stay in his own lane. That's what he need to do in the first place. Because he making himself sound like a fool. He making himself sound like a emasculated male. Do you see what I'm saying? So when I ask the question, is black male leadership dead? Is it dead in this country collectively? Yes, it is, because you got a whole lot of black men online. Do you see what I'm saying? The only people they feel empowered to come up against is the black woman. Do you see what I'm saying? You know why they're scared to come up against anything other than the black woman? Because they are not afraid of the black woman. Okay? They are scared to come at the Anglo man, which has his foot on his neck and has had his foot on his neck for centuries, ever since we got off the boat. Okay? They scared to come at them. So what they do, in order to make themselves feel validated, give them some kind of fake sense of bravado, they will beat your butt, and they will come, and they will online and offline. They will verbally abuse you. They will try to demean you. I'm talking about the black woman, because we know that at the end of the day, the black woman is going to stand and take care of her family. So why? Because she don't have a choice. Okay, we did it before. We're gonna do it again. All right. So anyway, I just want you guys to hear that. And I also, since we're on the subject of young Pharaoh, no, and because he kept mentioning I also saw that video. Somebody said he was on there praising Trump right now. Yeah, he was on his thing praising Trump. Like, he still might be on as we speak praising Trump. Hustling hard for Trump. He really thinking these white folks gonna save him, right? Like, he really putting his heart and soul into the matter. What he doing is trying to hustle the Anglo, trying to get his dollar. You know what I mean? So he ain't talking about the white man, being inferior to us anymore. He ain't. Y'all know all that stuff, all that DNA evidence that he pulled up to prove that we were superior people, all this and all that. Oh no, he ain't talking that no more. Now he praising Trump and his cronies. Do you see what I'm saying? He want to be a part of the group. Do you see what I'm saying? He turning into the next Anthony Brian Logan, next ABL, or the next whoever it is that's Trump supporting, backpedaling and pussy popping for Trump. He one of them. Do you see what I'm saying? But I said I did a video about not this New Year, but last New Year is when I said this is the age of Aquarius, and a lot of the charlatans are going to be revealed. Little did I know that in the midst of these charlatans being revealed, it was going to be young Pharaoh. Like I said, he should have stuck to his he still should have stuck to his metaphysical stuff. Okay, but let me tell you something about Umar. Now, Umar Johnson, Umar done lost his mind right now. And we know that we have a problem in this black community with mental illness, okay? And I hate that, and not to mention the fact that social media is not for everybody. Even when you're trying to hustle, social media is not for everybody. But I heard Omar Johnson speaking when he was talking to it's called the Nigeria Voice TV, and he was speaking. I'm just switching gears a little bit because I'm tired of talking about that little boy over there. And Umar is he all the way gone. Umar Johnson done lost his mind. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, Lennon Honor exposed him, but you have to ask yourself why do we work so hard, against one another? Yes, he needed to be, exposed, but I think that in the beginning, his heart was in the right place. That's what people are forgetting. The only thing about Umar is he is mentally ill. Do you see what I'm saying? He is mentally ill, and that's just the bottom line. We didn't know it at first. We know it now. Do you see what I'm saying? But let me find this video. He is telling the truth about what China is trying to do over there in Africa. Now, you remember I told you, and the reason why I'm switching up the conversation for a little quick second is because remember I told you guys that whatever goes on the continent, whatever's happening there is happening to us here in the States. Now, a lot of us don't believe this. A lot of us don't believe this about our African brothers and sisters, but they over in the continent, they believe this. They know this because, like I say, the wind of wars is blowing, and it's time for you to choose up. Do you see what I'm saying? They're asking Africans, descendants of Africa, to come home, to stand with your people, because you ain't got nobody but yourself at the end of the day. Do you see what I'm saying? So whether you believe that you are, if you are a melanated person, you are descended from Africa, just let me say whether you will believe it or not. Okay, Africa also, when it comes to China, China is too many people in China, and not to mention they killed off their continent anyway with that Fukushima meltdown. Do you see what I'm saying? And they're trying to conquer Africa just like the French did, just like the Swedish did, just like the Americans did, just like the British and whoever else did. Okay, the Dutch, everybody got their foot in Africa. You know why everybody got their foot in Africa? Because Africa is the only self-sustaining continent the only self-sustaining continent on the planet. Africa technically doesn't need nothing from nobody else. Why do you think, and we're talking about the New World Order, right? Why do you think that they were so offended by Gaddafi? Why do you think Barack Obama had more and more Gaddafi assassinated? Do you see what I'm saying? There's a reason for everything. And like I said, when it comes to this coronavirus, this is nothing but a dress rehearsal for another upcoming world war. You're absolutely right about yeah, we are at biological right now, OJ Boosie. I absolutely agree with you. But anyway, let you listen to but first, let me let you listen to what Omar Johnson had to say about why China is trying to take over African countries, why they are so desperate to take over African countries. Now, like I said, I don't know when exactly this interview was done, but we know that Omar is off his rocker, but he's telling the absolute truth about this. And the reason why I'm mentioning this, because like I said, whatever going on over there with Africans over there is happening to us. Do you see what I'm saying? And so let me play this for you. This is what Umar has to say about why China is so desperate to take over Africa. Okay.
As Tennesseans,
well, hold on a minute. We got a commercial here. You know how that go. Hold on 1 second. Let me get that out the way. Cue it up. Why is it trying to show me a commercial about my own state? I know what's going on here. Okay, here we go. Hold on.
What about the Asians taking over Africa?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my goodness. I made the comment when I was talked about it. Yeah. Ethiopia, right? The only African nation to never be colonized up until now. Ethiopia is one of the largest recipients of Chinese aid in the world. Ethiopia also has a female president now. Shout out to the queen. But guess what? Ethiopia better do something fast because they are becoming over-dependent on Chinese support. And why is the Chinese taking over Africa? Because they studied what the white man did and they said we're going to do it better than the white man. They are coming into Africa for 4 reasons. Reason number 1, the Chinaman is coming into Africa. China is overpopulated. I was just there a year ago in January of 18. There's too many of them. They got over 2 billion people in one country. America is only, 500 million? They got 2 billion. China is looking for unexploited lands where they can send their excess poor people. Africa is perfect. That's number 1. We got to reduce the population of China, so we're going to send all of our unwanteds to Africa. Same thing Britain did when they founded the 13 colonies. Second reason China taking over Africa, look at all the poor Africans. Can you imagine a better place to go and open up your factories and businesses where you can pay people even less than what you pay them in China? There's no minimum wage in many African countries for foreign businesses. You can exploit African labor better than you can exploit Taiwanese and Vietnamese labor. So the second reason they're in Africa, because guess what? I keep more of the profit. Third reason they in Africa is to take over the resources, just like the white man. That's why they're giving out all these loans. These are not grants. Let me be clear. The money that China is giving Africa are not grants. They are loans. You might say, why is China giving Kenya more money than they know Kenya can pay back. You follow me? Why are they giving a poor country like Ethiopia more money? Because they don't want you to pay back. Because when you look at the contract, guess what it says? If you default on this loan,
we keep
all your tea fields are mine. All your copper mines are mine. All your oil reserves are mine. And guess what? You already have an African nation that has defaulted on the loan. I think it was Kenya. But don't quote me. As a result of the default, China now owns all of a particular resource in that country. And the fourth reason that they are in Africa is to make the Africans dependent on them culturally, intellectually, educationally, and otherwise, because China plans to colonize Africa the same way the white man did. And I'm hurting by saying this, y'all. You know why I'm hurting? Because Patrice Lumumba died for Africa to be free. Thomas Sankara died for Africa to be free. Steve Biko died for Africa to be free. Chris Hani died for Africa to be free. Amilcar Cabral died for Africa to be free. And after all the blood that has been spilled, Dedan Kamathi died for Africa to be free. And after all the blood has been spilled, you mean to tell me 60 years after we kicked the white man out, you're going to roll out the red carpet to the Chinese?
It's like slavery all over again.
It's slavery all over. Oh, but it's different now because guess what the Chinese are doing? They adding a little twist. They're building military bases and police stations everywhere they set up shop. I'm going to be interviewed by Djibouti magazine next week. They contacted me last night. They want to interview me because Djibouti is the first African country that has a Chinese police station. Can I ask you a question? If you are the president of Wakanda,
right?
You are a sovereign nation. I want to come and do business in your sovereign nation. Can you please tell me why you allow me to bring my own police? You are a sovereign nation. Part of being sovereign means what? You control the military. But Africa is letting China bring their own police. Let me tell you what's going to happen. The Chinese, as disrespect, and by the way, they are as disrespectful in Africa as they are here. Right. So when you read these stories in New York about the sister being beat up in the nail salon,
I remember that. Yep.
They do the same thing in Africa. Yeah. Oh, the Chinese think they own it. When you go, you want to see what I'm talking about. Guess what? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. There's going to be a conflict. An African is going to get disrespected by a Chinese. It's going to turn into a group conflict, and the Chinese military is going to hurt one of our African brothers and sisters. It's going to turn into a civil war. Yeah. And then China going to send their whole army in, and they're going to colonize that whole country. And they're going to do just like America does. We just making your country safe for democracy.
Come on, Umar. Come on now. He said that. Yes, he did. Because he told the truth about that. But the only thing is, somebody said, he told the truth about that. You call him crazy. You can call him scammer. You can call him anything you want to. But he told the truth about China because that is what's going on in China right now. But the only thing is China keep misstepping. They keep misstepping and underestimating the Africans and as well as black people throughout the diaspora because they think that because Africa has for centuries laid down for other countries and let them colonize them. Do you see what I'm saying? That is what's going on right now. But that is not what's going on right now. We are seeing an uprising in Africa, even from some of the countries in Africa that have taken these loans from these Africans. Okay, they have stopped payment on a lot of these loans. They are starting to wake up because their people was being kicked out on the street in China, and China is trying to blame African migrant workers for bringing the coronavirus to China when we know that started in the lab in Wuhan, China, that we know that the virus started in China, but China is trying to turn it around and say Africa brought it to them. Do you see what I'm saying? The Africans are now offended by that. And like I said, many of the country's leaders are starting to stand up. They are starting to wake up. Do you see what I'm saying? And they are starting to pretty much kick these Chinese up out of there. Do you see what I'm saying? And it probably will end in civil war, but it's not going to go down like they think it's going to go down because you got people like Julius Malema starting to speak to his leaders and other African leaders in the country over there starting to speak up and stand together. Even in Nigeria, places like Kenya, they are starting to speak up, and speak out. Do you see what I'm saying? That you have countries refusing to pay back loans that China gave them that they really paid for time and time again. They're starting to kick them out on their ear because they are starting to wake up. And like I said, a lot of people are also starting to wake up because the wind of war is raging. Okay, and they're asking African black people throughout the diaspora, not only just in Africa, they're asking all of us to unite. Because once again, let me tell you real fast, Africa, let me tell you another reason why everybody wants to colonize Africa. Everybody wants a little spot of Africa, okay? The British, the Swedish, the French, the Americans, the Russians, the Chinese, everybody want a little piece of Africa. You know why? Because when those nuclear bombs start going off, I bet you $10 to my last penny that no nuclear bomb will hit the continent of Africa. Why? Because Africa, like I said, is the only self-sustaining continent on the planet. Africa needs nothing from nobody else. It's just that so long that Africa has not had enough confidence in itself to stand because it has been beat down like our people over here have been beat down. Portugal is not a self-sustaining continent, Mike Green. You need to do a little more geography, okay? Africa is the only self-sustaining planet on the continent. That's why Africa is so mineral rich. Do you see what I'm saying? It's because it's the only one that's self-sustaining. Anyway, I may forget what I was gonna say. Yeah, no nuclear bomb is going to hit the continent of Africa because that is the last place that the elites are going to, that is the last place where they're going to, hoping to go and make a home after they have blown up everything else. Why do you think you have such a huge amount of people like Bill Gates and what's his name, Prince William, saying that there are too many Africans in Africa? They need to employ some kind of eugenics program because it's so many Africans over there that they are taking up land from the animals. Okay, this is how Prince William is trying to come at it. We need to abort a whole bunch of these Africa and give them some kind of abortion or birth control or program because there's too many of them and they're taking up too much land from the animals. In the first place, if there was nobody on the African continent but the Africans and the animals like it's supposed to be, there would be enough room for everybody. It is their content. It is their ecosystem. It balances out itself. So you got to come again with that. Do you see what I'm saying? But anyway, like I said, you got Africans like Julius Malema. And in case you don't know, let me tell you real fast. Who is Julius Malema? I love Julius Malema. I love that the way that Malema is speaking out against against everybody else other than Africans right now. Julius Malema he started the EFF. The EFF stands for, and he is in South Africa. He is the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters Party. Do you see what I'm saying? It is an African American Pan-Africanist political party. Okay, that is in Julius Malema. Like I said, he is college educated, and he's him along with another man, Kunini or something like that. They started the EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighters. They even have 45 seats in Parliament in South Africa. It is a growing movement. Do you see what I'm saying? And so yeah, you like him too, Armor Eyes. I really like him. So that's who Julius Malema is, and he's speaking out and he's calling all Africans home throughout the diaspora. Do you see what I'm saying? Because he is not living in a dream. And like I'm saying, hey Baba, how you doing? The winds of war, honey, are blowing, and it's time for people to ante up and choose a side. And when you hear the silly boys like young Pharaoh on the line trying to run behind the skirt tails of Donald Trump, it is simply because they are afraid. They are afraid because, unfortunately, they have let the man beat them down. They have become emasculated. We hear a lot of black men online really mad because they're not black women. Do you see what I'm saying? They have been emasculated. They are looking for a white zaddy to protect them. Do you see what I'm saying? They want to do anything and everything to get behind the white man, thinking that the white man is going to save them. But like I said, when they done fooling with you, they gonna kill your ass too. Okay, so run your ass on down here to some of these militia groups. That's what you do. You don't even got to run down south. You can run over there to Chicago and fool with the Promise Keepers. You know, because a lot of our mental illness that we got going on in the black community is that we have a propensity of killing one another. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, it's unfortunate to hear somebody like young Pharaoh, and he is young. Do you see what I'm saying? He's supposed to be speaking up on our black militia, trying to form his own black militia. Do you see what I'm saying? Because he was so rah-rah for so long, you know, against the Anglo. Do you see what I'm saying? He was rah-rah against them forever. Now all of a sudden, you pro-Trump. You want to join the white militia group. You want to be a Bundy after an Oregon. Okay? You want to help Bundy feed his cattle. You know, you want to work for Massa after an Oregon. You want to do anything you can do, you know, that you think is going to keep you safe. And he ain't the only one on here. Like I said, and my feelings were so hurt, even when I heard Super Sly 75, you know, bigging up, you know, these Anglo militia groups, you know, right here, talking about some, well, we ain't going to do nothing. We don't do nothing but kill each other, blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. You have no faith. Do you see what I'm saying? In your own people. You have no faith in your own self when you bigging up a whole nother race of man. Okay, you have no faith in your black self at all when you want to bow down and kiss the tip of the eggplant emoji of the Anglo. Okay, you are totally emasculated. Okay, I have never heard of any other race of man on the planet that praises the efforts of another man. And as far as the Anglo go, in this country, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Okay, because it's survival of the fittest. Okay, but what are you doing? You hustling to get behind them, and in the midst of survival of the fittest, you're supposed to be hustling to get behind your own people. Because like I said, yes, there are a lot of black militia groups in this United States of America. Okay, you just don't hear about them. They're not as popular as the KKK or the skinheads. You know why? Because they got to be incognito, because they also smell the winds of war coming. Do you see what I'm saying? But instead of you trying to rally up your boys, young Pharaoh, somebody said they was over there talking about, was it praising Trump or oh no, they were saying he was the Pharaoh was Malcolm X. This is how stupid our youth has been dumbed down, and it's so unfortunate. You don't have enough sense to try to save yourself. You so sleep that you think the white man is gonna save you in the midst of war. Really? We are considered non-producers. What did they do with the non-producers? What did Hitler do with the non-producers? The old people, the Jews. What did he do with them? He killed them off. He sent them to the gas chamber first. Okay? What do you think is going to happen to your black ass if you don't have no protection? Okay? You know? We don't have no allies, OG Boosie. We will call you when we need you. Oh, is this what they want to be, allies? Because we don't have no allies in this black community. Throughout this diaspora, we don't have any allies. The only allies that we really have is our African brothers and sisters. And I'm going to play this little this speech from Malema. And I told you who Malema was. And we're going to go on and get off here, but I want y'all to hear this because there are some black men throughout the diaspora, even over here in the States, that are willing to fight for their people. Okay? And when you start to smelling the winds of war and you start to hearing the African leaders calling the Americans home, calling the Africans home, you know, throughout the diaspora, saying it's time to come home. Do you see what I'm saying? It's letting you know that something is on the horizon and it's time to pick a side. Okay? Bottom line, point blank, it's time to pick a side. All right? I don't know about you. I know what side I'm going to pick. All right? Because I don't have a choice. Hold on. Let me cue this up. And I'm sure it's going to be a commercial, so hold on.
So, here we go.
Yep, what I tell you. Hold on. Let me try to get this commercial off here, y'all. Boy, I tell you, I'm so disappointed. It's in these black men that I hear on here. I cannot with these people. It don't make no sense. What is wrong? And then you wonder why. You always run around, the black woman won't let me lead. The black woman won't this. The black woman won't that. Well, what we gonna let you lead for when you trying to run behind the skirt tail of the white man? What the hell is that gonna do for us? That's all I want to know. You running around, you fussing about weave, you fussing about nails, you fussing about this, you fussing about that. Yeah, that's what they're calling them, Baba. They're calling them an agent. They're calling them a double agent. Okay, don't forget, y'all, when this video upload, check out the thumbnail, okay? Y'all know it take 12, 24 hours for the video to upload, but if you go to my main page and scroll down to where it says past live streams, you'll get to see the thumbnail, okay? And I'll try to put it on my community wall. But anyway, let you hear what Julius Malema has to say. The title of this video, and it's from a YouTube channel called Make Africa Great. You can check out that channel. It's got a lot of good African info, a lot of diaspora as well info on it. The name of this video, the title is Julius Malema Speaks to African Leaders About Africans in China, Trump, and the World Health Organization, and Uniting Africa. Okay, so here we go. Let me turn it up. Child.
It's a generation that must understand that there is no free South Africa without a free Africa. There is no freedom in South Africa without the total liberation of the African continent. We must further the gains of political freedom by building an integrated African economy. Fellow fighters, we must defend our SOEs, because without them, there is no hope for independent economic development. We must encourage African leaders to abandon their obsession with power and unite behind a common and immediate goal of an integrated political system towards one economy and one African state. Africa must have one government, a central economy, and one president. The tragedy of coronavirus gives us an opportunity to unite as a continent to develop out of this crisis a new economy. We must use this time to develop our industry, to develop our healthcare sector, and to develop trade relations. We must go back to the ideas of Gaddafi of an African economy and currency based on mineral wealth of our continent, not imaginary markets. Today, we see the likes of the United States of America printing money without consequences to the value of their currency. This is because they control the markets that determines the value of currencies. They do this without any gold, oil, or valuable mineral resources. We see the United States manipulating international institutions because they want to be the dominant global power. They do this at the expense of nations that have mineral and raw resources.
Like
For
Africa.
true freedom, we must unite with progressive international forces to combat imperialist powers. We must unite with Cuba, whose legacy is progressive and shows itself today through its deployment of medical staff and resources across the world to combat the coronavirus. We must emerge from this pandemic with an African economy that will give to the world a new human face. As we commemorate Freedom Day, let us keep in our hearts the less fortunate and those who are marginalized the most in our society. Let us protect one another. Let us protect women and children, the elderly and the disabled. Let us protect Africa and her children and be caring to all of her people. As many of our hard-fought freedoms are denied to us today in combat the spread of the coronavirus, let us all remember that most basic human right is the right to life.
That's right.
To protect this right, let us all remain in our homes and observe the guidelines given to us by our respective governments across the world. Fellow fighters, already in the 1950s, Frantz Fanon wrote about Africa as the wretched of the earth. He located racism directly at the people of African descent to be the greatest and most violent of all oppressions. All people of the world despise Africans. Nothing about Africans invites respect, dignity, humanness, and beauty in the eyes of the world.
Thanks.
We represent slavery, underdevelopment, poverty, disease, hunger, suffering, and illiteracy. Everyone thinks they are better than an African. They can meet the worst form of suffering, like Holocaust and gulags. They still will see themselves as better than Africans. Meaning, instead of human tragedy making them identify with Africans, they will still think of their own human suffering as better than being an African. Why? Because African is being trapped in a skin color, a body we can never escape. How do you escape being yourself? Such will only lead to self-destruction and permanent self-sabotage. These are the hands.
Sorry about that. It's commercial. Let me get past it. But he asked a very important question. Did you hear what he said? How do you escape being yourself? Now, we know that here in the States, we want to be called everything but Africa. We want but African. We want to be thought of as anything but black. Okay, we want to assimilate into the Anglo society. We want to assimilate into the Anglo. Our men feel so defeated that they would rather be women, and they are mad at women because they are not women, because they cannot stand and fight because they have been emasculated. Do you see what I'm saying? All of this is why he asked this question. I absolutely agree with him. How can you how can you hate yourself, and hope to overcome any type of oppression if you hate your own self? Okay. Now we have heard, we was talking about earlier, hey, let's be real. Please go back and look at the beginning. Somebody like a young Pharaoh, young black man, 26 years old, wanting to be a part of the Anglo militia, or wanting a Trump supporter over there twerking, shucking and jiving for Trump. What type of self-hate causes you to say that you are pro-black or you are in the conscious community, but being a Trump supporter at the same damn time? Now make that make sense to me. I don't understand. There are a lot of pro-black men in particular, and some women, but moreover, a lot of pro-black men that are singing the praises of Donald Trump right now. Do you know why they're doing that? It's because they have become emasculated. They see Donald Trump as some sense of strong patriarchy or strong masculinity. Do you see what I'm saying? You cannot admire and bow down to another man's masculinity if you call yourself a man. Okay? Men are not supposed to bow down to other races of men's patriarchy. Okay? That don't make no sense. You have been conquered. You have been fully emasculated, and you are trying to assimilate even more, even if you have to become a female. Okay? That is how bad a lot of black American men and a lot of men throughout the diaspora want to be. That is how bad you want to be accepted into another man's race. Or even if you got to put on a dress, that's whatever you got to do, that's what you're willing to do. Okay? And that is why I asked the question, is there any more black leadership? But yes, there is, because there are men like Julius Malema, okay, out here. Even in the Americas, there are, men that are willing to stand up for their people. Do you see what I'm saying? But they are few and far between here in the States, and that is very unfortunate. Okay, from young to old. I gave you guys 2 examples, from young to older, of what's going on in this country, and it don't make no sense. And then people wonder why you don't respect these men online. Why would I? If you worried about weaving wigs and nails more than I am. Okay. Do you want to be me? But anyway, let's continue.
Conditions and image in the world. Therefore, a genuine conversation about Freedom Day must reflect on this status of African people. The fact that these conditions have continued long after African continent have declared itself independent and free of colonial rule is a problem. The African body has not attained humanity and dignity in the eyes of itself, even in the eyes of those who inhabit it. It feels like a curse we want to escape, a burden we want to dump. With the global outbreak of coronavirus in Wuhan, China, the black body still found its way to bearing the blame for a virus that never came from its continent. In Gonzo province, the home to Asia's largest African migrant population, a state-sponsored propaganda has come to blame African migrants for bringing and spreading COVID-19. The local authorities have identified Africa as the source of the largest number of imported COVID-19 cases. Among all foreign cases identified in Gonzo, 76% are said to be from African countries, including 36% from Nigeria alone. How is it that a virus that originated from China somehow came to be blamed on the black bodies by the same Chinese authorities? In less than 100 days since the first case of coronavirus was reported in Wuhan, authorities in China are saying coronavirus is from Nigeria. The black body is so despised that it must be blamed for any disease anywhere in the world. As a result of this state propaganda, African migrants are being targeted in China, beaten up randomly on the street, not allowed into shopping malls, and evicted from buildings they rent. This tragic development during a time that requires global solidarity already shows you what the world is willing to do in order to put Africa in its rightful place. At the bottom, as an evil continent infecting the whole world with death and diseases. We must not forget that just before the global outbreak of COVID-19, the world was discussing the migrant crisis in Europe, mainly from African continent. Europe, in particular, countries like Italy, France, Spain, Britain, and Germany were closing their borders against one of the largest migrant crises in centuries.
When you turn data into doing, data becomes the key.
Sorry about that, guys. Commercial. But like he said, the Chinese are now trying to blame African migrant workers for the coronavirus. And we know it started in a lab in Wuhan, China. Do you see what I'm saying? So I ain't never heard nothing like it.
So hundreds of thousands of African people seek asylum in Europe. This very conflict resulted in renewed slavery of African people forced into chains and free labor in the 21st century. Euro-American politics of borders and keeping the foreigners away were at the center of a new rising global order. Many people called it the return of fascism. They destabilized.
He's talking about Trump and him trying to close the borders. He's calling it the return of fascism.
Countries in the Middle East and Africa through brutal wars, and yet set out to build high walls to keep migrants of the very stranded countries away. It is therefore not shocking that China itself, when pressed under the crisis of pandemic which originate in their own country, could turn on the most vulnerable African migrants, blame them, and seek to cleanse their communities of black bodies. In Gonzo, coronavirus is associated with black bodies. The reality is that this is also how Africa treats itself. Colonization, as Fanon explained, created the condition in which we look at ourselves through the eyes of the colonizers. When we see ourselves, when we see each other, we see the indignity and animality that the colonizer sees when they look at us. This is why the leadership of independent African countries has failed to break the chains that imprison the African mind. In the hands of their own leaders, Africans receive the same animal treatment that they get from China, Europe, and North America. When Africans criticize their leadership for corruption, nepotism, and dictatorship, the African leadership subjects them to the same brutal massacres, imprisonments, and brutality that manifested in other countries. The African migrants receive the same treatment we see in China, right here in South Africa. In Cape Town, African migrants who occupied the church for asylum were forced out by the city without any public outrage. In fact, Each year, South Africans, together with their ANC leadership in government, engage in annual theaters and orgies of xenophobic violence against Nigerians, Zimbabweans, Congolese who live amongst us. From time to time, the African migrants put down or destroyed. The South African Police Service leads countless raids on those it calls undocumented migrants who happen to be Africans all the time. They beat them, arrest them, transport them to the borders. All this happens without any public outrage. Today, people are everywhere on social media, outraged by what Chinese are doing, rightfully so. Yet this is precisely what they do to other Africans right here in South Africa. They celebrate and encourage to force removals and deportation of African migrants right here in South Africa. The African body will never be treated with dignity far away when it fails to find a treatment of dignity here at home. The Chinese do to Africans what Africans do to each other here in Africa every day. This must tell us, all of us, that freedom cannot be realized in a single African country. No single African person can say they are free and hope to earn equal respect from the rest of the world when other Africans live in chains and indignity. African freedom means the freedom of all Africans wherever they are in the world. There is no South African freedom, peace and prosperity that can ever be achieved without the freedom, peace and prosperity of the whole African continent and diaspora. When financial and economic relief was communicated by President Ramaphosa, there was no mention of the continent and all the African migrants who live amongst us. The food parcels and all grants are meant for South Africans only. Even the small businesses grants are structured for South Africans only. The migrants, even those who are registered with permanent residency, will be overlooked, excluded, and probably even deported during this COVID-19 crisis. This is the reason all other countries in the world will never see Black lives as worthy of dignity, respect, and remorse. We do not feel remorse to each other right here on the continent. We do not feel solidarity for each other.
Sorry about that, y'all. Another commercial, but he is absolutely telling the truth. And if you notice, when he talk about the I'm gonna call them stimulus package over there, a lot of those stimulus packages are given to the white South Africans and not the black South Africans. That is what he's talking about. That is what he's speaking about. And if you notice, we've seen online, I've seen a couple of videos of black business owners saying that they were not able to gain any of that debt relief money or that stimulus money for their small businesses. But a lot of big businesses and big schools were given that money, and some of them have been asked to give the money back. But if the money was supposed to be for small businesses, why are black people being locked out of those monies? See, those are the same things that are going on here, and that's why I said that whatever is going on in Africa, you can ricochet it back and see the same things being mirrored, the same things going on right here in this country. Do you see what I'm saying? So anyway, let's continue. Sorry about all these commercials. I don't have no control over it. I'm trying to start this back up. Oh, hold on a minute. But yeah. Hey everybody, if you came in late.
Tax relief from SARS. Do you think they will not get payment holidays from Standard Bank? Do you think the British citizens in America will not get financial help from the USA government? The answer is simple. They will, because white people look out for each other And our own government loves white people more than black people. They see it as their duty to keep white people happy and safe, even at the expense of Africans in general.
Just like over here.
In all these interventions, in particular, interventions that provide food and temporary shelter for the most vulnerable of our people, we must not forget our brothers and sisters from neighboring countries who remain in our country during these difficult times. We must shelter everyone. We must feed everyone. We must make sure that everyone, despite their nationality, whether they have documentation or not, no one should find himself or herself without food because they are from Zimbabwe, Malawi, Lesotho, Botswana, Nigeria, and everywhere else in Africa. They are our own brothers and sisters. We must share the little we have in these times of crisis. Build our solidarity and unity with our African brothers and sisters in Africa, and all poor nations must receive our support. Our public health care in African continent is, as it is the case here in South Africa, it is broken and serves the few rich. There are countries that have less than 10 ventilators that are much needed during this period to fight COVID-19. Those that seems to have more than this medical equipment are concentrated in facilities that services the few. Other countries like Somalia do not have even a single ventilator. When we manufacture ventilators, masks, and all essentials, we must always think of our brothers and sisters in the African continent. Intensive care units is even far much less. The World Health Organization estimated that 44 countries in Africa have a total of 5,000 intensive care units. We must share both intellectual and physical infrastructure with African countries and all poor nations. We should be inspired by Cuba's medical internationalism guided by socialist values, values that put lives before profit at all times. We must all be grateful for the visionary leadership of Commandant Fidel Castro, who started Cuban medical internationalism more than 60 years ago. We thank the Cuban doctors who have gone to the front line and fight coronavirus. We also want to welcome them to South Africa. All interventions, including supporting industrialization and protection of our economy, must also take into account the much larger role South Africa must play in the African continent. All interventions to open the new kind of economy must open up the African economy before opening up to the West and Asia. All interventions that seek to provide personal protection equipment must do so for our health workers here in South Africa and, where possible, for other African countries that do not have them. All interventions that seek to ensure adequate supply of medicines and other necessary supplies to fight coronavirus here in South Africa must do so with Africa in mind. We condemn the cutting of the World Health Organization funding by Donald Trump. He must not politicize the COVID-19 and come to the party to save the world from this invisible enemy. We will not win the war against coronavirus here in South Africa while the rest of the continent and poor nations are losing the battle because we'll achieve nothing. We want to urge our governments and governments across the world to prioritize human life over profit and egos at this time.
That's right.
We want to remind our government that there is no economy without people. And any easing of economy to combat the spread of coronavirus must be based on the science and not profit.
That's right.
We salute to our doctors, nurses, police, soldiers, petrol attendants, shopkeepers, and the frontline staff for your sacrifices. You are our real heroes. South Africans, please continue to stay at home. South Africans, continue to wash your hands. Hasta la victoria siempre. Victory is certain. I thank you. Mandla.
All right. Oh, I love him. I love Malema. But he is calling for countries around the world to choose people over profit. And he is absolutely right. Do you see what I'm saying? Let's be real. Said people have made billions off the virus. That's right. They have made billions off the virus already. Do you see what I'm saying? Because anytime you have war, that means profit. You know, war brings in big money. You get big monies for war. Do you see what I'm saying? And we are in the midst of wartime right now. Do you see what I'm saying? That is why he called out Donald Trump and everybody in China and everybody else that he called out. But I absolutely agree with him when he say that you have to choose people over profit, or there will be no economy. We even in this country, a lot of the things that are going on with the African peoples as far as the fight for the coronavirus, they can't get help. They don't have ventilators, all this and all that. In this country, you have people's black people's melanated people, being turned away from hospitals and refused tests. There was I seen on the news today where there was a nurse. She was working in a hospital and she was refused a coronavirus test 4 times, and then now she has died. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's all kind of, now they got all these test sites wanting to go up after a month. Now they're wanting to finally get around to do testing in predominantly socioeconomically depressed black neighborhoods. Now after they said that it is more people of color catching the coronavirus more so than anybody else here in the United States of America. They said we were 30% of the cases, and said that elderly people were 20% of the cases. And I asked the question the other day, well, who are the other 50% of cases? Do you see what I'm saying? The same thing that's going on also to African people in China is the same thing that's going on over here. They are pretty much blaming us, okay, people of color, melanated people, in particular, for the spread of the coronavirus. We know that this is a lie. We know that this is not true. We know that if Donald Trump had acted faster, we know that if he would have stopped those planes from coming over here, and the Chinese people from the continent coming over here in droves. Do you see what I'm saying? If he would have got a handle on it earlier, maybe we wouldn't be trying to catch up to this virus right now. You got all of this stuff going on. You got Bill Gates running rampant, running around still doing interviews, like he's some kind of savior. He want to be the white savior of humanity via his vaccine. And a lot of people are saying that vaccine is going to do more harm than good. We know that he has been undergoing a whole lot of eugenics programs, on the African peoples over there. And when he was talking about, when Omar Johnson was talking about how easy it is to exploit labor in Africa, they say in some countries in Africa, you don't have to pay the workers money. You can send them home with a bag of rice once a week. As a form of payment, and they will be happy with that. That is how poor those countries are over there, because other countries have stripped them of their mineral, their resources. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's all of this and all of that is going on. But this coronavirus still is an equalizer, because I think that it got out of hand. I don't think that China never intended for it to do what it's doing right now, and for that reason it has become an equalizer. Do you see what I'm saying? Because anybody can be stricken with it from infancy to old age. Do you see what I'm saying? It is an equal opportunity killer. If you get a hold to it, you're gonna have to be able to get rid of it. Okay, so anyway, guys, I want you guys to hear that. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. Like I said, y'all check back in a few minutes. I'm gonna put the thumbnail up of that screenshot of young Pharaoh's Twitter, that Twitter picture that they were talking about, in which he's pretty much shaking hands, with white militiamen. So now we know that young Pharaoh is not for his people. He is scared. He got a skirt on too, and he want to run behind the skirt of Trump, of White Zaddy, thinking that White Zaddy is going to protect him. Do you see what I'm saying? And also people need to take a look at his analytics, take a look at who it is over there that's shouting out Trump 2020 and calling him the new Malcolm X. Okay, and I think you'll be surprised because a lot of those people, that's twerking in his chat ain't even black. And I am interested in seeing what, if anything, that the conscious community will say about what it is that young Pharaoh is doing. Right now, are they afraid to say something? Do they even care? Are they co-signing what he's doing? What's really going on? I ain't even heard nothing from his boy Seti about what he's saying. Do you see what I'm saying? He was over there today, bigging up Trump and the militiamen once again. Do you see what I'm saying? And so I'm gonna get off of here. Thank you guys so much for joining me once again. Melanated Goddess said it just came out that Trump owes Bank of China tens of millions of dollars, so he's not going to say too much to them. Well, he ought to do the same thing that a lot of other countries like Germany is doing and sending China the bill for this corona pandemic. That's what he need to do. Okay, we have been in debt forever, trillions of dollars in debt to China. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, common sense said it backfired on them because who it was intended for didn't work. Absolutely. And I believe it probably was intended for people of Africa. Absolutely. Just like Ebola. Do you see what I'm saying? Just like AIDS, just like SARS. It's all intended for melanated people. But whatever they try to do to us, if you would notice, it always ricochet back onto them. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that is what I'm talking about. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, Sinetta is online right now with some video titled Bro Jabari and the Sisters Talk Black Politics in the Age of Trump. Now, I don't even know what this is going to be about, but if he ain't calling that young Pharaoh, I ain't trying to hear it. Do you see what I'm saying? I am not impressed. You know what I mean? And so, shame on him if they don't call him out on what he's doing, okay? I said, right, I want to know what Seti is saying. Absolutely, because Seti is young Pharaoh's boy, right? That's his boy. Justine said, thank you for what you show. Oh, thank you, Justine, for joining me. And if you guys came in late, please, go back to the beginning of the video and rewatch it. There's some good information in that video. Do you see what I'm saying? I said, she said this. I guess that's what I'm thinking. Tuskegee experiment. Child. Okay. So anyway, let me get out here. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. You guys be safe out there, and like I said, don't ever forget whatever is going on with the Africans, our African brothers sisters on the continent is going on with us, here in the States as well as throughout the diaspora. A lot of us want to be, anything but us, and that is part of the problem. That is the reason why it's so hard for us to unify. Do you see what I'm saying? We are even scared to unify with us. Our self-hate is so great. The self-hate that some of us have collectively is so great that we can't even unify, even when it's working in our own interest. We would instead, you see what I'm saying, run behind the skirt tails of any and every other race except our own race. And for that reason, we have been left defenseless, not only over here in America, but also throughout the diaspora. Do you see what I'm saying? I side-eye anybody that's in support of anything that Donald Trump says, okay, including young Pharaoh and whoever else in this black sector. They call themselves pro-black, but they're saying they're a Trump supporter. I'm side-eyeing you. You are being disingenuous. You are not for your people, okay? Anytime you sided with anybody that is not black like you, you are not for your people. Okay, and shame on you for hustling your people. Okay? I'm just saying. And I'm going to read this last comment and I'm going to get off here. Okay? Common sense said, God of our people, watch over us. Right? It always, whatever they try to do to us, it always backfires on them. It always ricochets back to them tenfold. Do you see what I'm saying? Even when they try to blame it on us, it's still the numbers speak for themselves. Do you see what I'm saying? They can try to put forth any kind of anti-propaganda machine all they want to against melanated people. The numbers don't lie. Look what happened during the time of the drug epidemic, what they call the drug epidemic, what they call the super predators. They poured cocaine and crack in our communities, but look what's going on in their communities now, right here in the States. You know, opioids is killing them. Do you see what I'm saying? At a far greater rate than it killed anybody in the crack era. Okay? A pill, you know, created in the lab of Big Pharma is killing them out like roaches. Do you see what I'm saying? So anything you try to do to God's people, like common sense said, it is always going to ricochet back onto you tenfold. We are the first. We will be the last. Okay? It don't seem like it now. We ain't unified now. But after a while, we ain't going to have no choice but to unify, because everybody's eventually going to wake up and see that you ain't got nobody but you at the end of the day. So you might as well get used to you and your skin just the way it is. Okay? Or else you won't have no skin or nothing else. All right? So, yeah. Hidden Tower says Africans make it hard to unify, not us. I disagree, Hidden Tower. I absolutely disagree with that. You know what I mean? We can't even unify in the States among us. Do you see what I'm saying? They can't, unify amongst one another on that continent either. It is like a curse. Just like the man says, see, people run around before I get off. I'm glad you said that, because I said it before, and I'm going to try it. I'm going to say it again one more time for the people in the back. When you go around and you hear these people, these brews and all these other people talk about black people are cursed with the curse of Ham and all of this and all that, that is not what we are cursed with. We are cursed with ego. We are cursed with a false sense of ego, should I say? We are also cursed with a spirit of disunity. Do you see what I'm saying? And until we are also cursed with the fact that we refuse to bow down, to bend our knee and supplicate ourselves to the Most High God. We turned our backs on our gods a long time ago. Now, I'm not talking about the God of the white man. Okay, I'm talking about the Most High God. I'm talking about we turned our backs collectively a long time ago via Christianity on our own African ancestry. We let everybody else demonize our own ancestry, and we turned away from it, and we started serving their gods instead of serving our gods. And until we turn to our own gods, because we are connected, whether we want to believe it or not, we have a direct connection with the God as well as the universe, as well as nature, because of this melanin that is in our skin. And because we have this melanin in our skin, we will bow down at the end of the day. We will supplicate ourselves, and the Most High God is not going to have it any other kind of way. And for as long as we, fight that, we will forever be going through this sort of thing. See, really, at the end of the day, it's not the white man that's holding us down. It is us that's holding us down. Because the only thing that can hold down God's people is his people. Okay? And I'm just going to leave y'all with that and let you ponder on that for a while. And I'm going to get off here. And like I said, y'all have a nice night. I love you guys. Y'all have a wonderful day tomorrow. Okay? We're going to be all right at the end of the day, even if they have to kill everything but except 144,000 of us. Okay? We still going to get it right at the end of the day, because the watchmen on the wall are always watching. Okay? Aquarius has in fact risen. The water bearer is in fact calling. And I'm going to leave you with that gem. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you don't. Google it. I love you guys. Peace.